Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Dimitri's Desk, where we cover price action in crypto markets. And as always, we're going to start off with IOST USD on a daily chart. As you can see, we are still within this same range that we've been talking about for almost like ages now, feels like. Last time we had our podcast, we went up about 16%, all the way wicked up to 1.4, which is essentially the top of the range that we have marked here that we've been talking about for a while. And then also, OBV is still looking good, even though it's a little bit of a sideways movement. We have ADX still within reasonably same levels, bouncing between below 20 and about 30. So nothing really significant here. We're still within the sideways movement on IOST USD. A couple of things that are coming up for IOST in terms of fundamentals. We have a lot of staking services that are coming online. So it'll be interesting to see how the volume is going to reflect that. If the OBV, the buying volume, is going to remain high, and then we can maybe finally break out of this range as this develops further. Now let's switch to the beast, BTC USD. Last time we were talking about how we were testing that 10K mark, and we wicked down. Essentially, that was the low, 96.51. I have marked right here. We tested that. Bounced right off that. Now we're climbing higher. I'm looking forward to seeing new highs above 13K, above 14K, and essentially the next resistance level I have outlined here is 14.5K for BTC. So BTC looking really strong. Obviously, I don't have to tell you that. OBV, everything looks good. ADX is above 20. It's a clearly trending market condition for BTC USD. All the moving averages look good. So if you're taking positions, obviously do it according to the market conditions, which is currently trending for BTC USD. Next one, we have ETH USD. So ETH is actually falling into, again, the sideways movement. Even though we broke out of this range that I was talking about before, we did test the range. Now we're still kind of moving sideways. So we have ADX that is around that 20 mark, which is signifying sideways movement. We have OBV, again, showing that sideways movement. There's really, the bulls and bears are kind of toughing it out. The buying and selling volume is relatively the same or equal on daily basis. So that's why we're getting the sideways movement. So this is what I was talking about when the price action broke out here and OBV was not reflecting that commitment. That's what I was saying, that it is perhaps time to wait to pull the trigger for the buy side on ETH USD. So I'm still looking at this very closely. We'll see how that's going to develop. We have the 50-day moving average that was supporting this testing as well. So for now, I'll put that on hold. EOS USD, again, this is as choppy range as it gets. We're looking at EOS below the 50-day moving average as far as the price action goes. OBV is really not showing much within that same range that we have outlined. ADX is essentially showing range, and we can see that by candlesticks. In fact, there's a lot of wicks, a lot of price action where it moves back and forth within a short period of time. So essentially, what happens when you have a market condition like that, eventually you break out up or down, because if the price is held within a small, tight range where you see a lot of wicks, that can signify a breakout that might be coming soon. And when that happens, it'll be interesting to see, are we going to break out to the top or at the bottom? Even though looking at it, moving averages 50 is above 20 on a daily, so that's a really good sign. But we'll have to see until that day comes. Now, talking about BTC and its dominance, obviously it has been crazy. And a lot of people talk about how they trade alts against BTC, and that's something that I mentioned before. You got to be very, very careful when you do that, because with the dominance level that BTC has right now, you're basically, you're shooting yourself in the foot. So just to give you an idea right here, just taking a look at all these pairs right now that I have on CoinMarketCap against BTC, they're just bleeding out. That can be due to the fact that BTC is climbing, and a lot of these traders that held these positions for some time, they're re-rotating into BTC because they don't want to miss that run up that we're going to have on BTC. So, and especially if you have some of these coins that are not delivering on promises and not delivering on tech or roadmap goals, you have that rotation essentially. So a lot of people are getting out and trying to catch this run in BTC, and that's why you see essentially a lot of red blood is on the streets for alt pairs. And for last thing, as always, BTC dominance, we're all the way up to 64.22%. And we continue to climb. As you can see, everything else is continuing to drop. So, believe what the chart tells you. If we're in this trending market condition, do not try to front run this and essentially pick the top or pick the bottom. Because this is actually a typical mistake for new traders, where they try to call the top or they try to call the bottom, but they usually get run over. I was reading that the BTC latest pop was actually due to a lot of liquidations because people were trying to pick the top to short it, which is a perfect example. So be very careful when you're positioning, especially when you're trading BTC. Because we're right now in a very strong market trending condition to the upside. All right, guys, as always, thanks for tuning in, and let me know in the comments what you guys think of the current market conditions, what time frames you guys use or indicators, and I'll catch you guys next week.